What's up, guys? My name is Adriel Rivera, and I make music in my shed. Join with me today is somebody else who also makes music in my shed. Unofficial owner of the Sony FX30, T and James Pres, Washington.
Thank you for that. Like, I'm so serious, Adriel. Thank you for letting me use your camera all of the time. Like, all of the time.
Yeah, no, I think this month has probably been like with you, like more than it's been like here with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been in my room the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been trusting that you have track of it because I haven't been keeping track of where it is at. But like, I know it's with you. At least it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, that's the camera we're using to record this podcast right now. And what are we doing in this podcast today?
Me?
Yeah.
We are about to break down lyrics of your newest song.
Yep. On the other side.
On the other side.
So let's give it a listen just to remind everybody how awesome of a song this is.
So awesome.
Yeah, it's so humble.
No
bro.
bias or anything, but like.
Yeah. All right. Let's give it a listen.
Over on the side, it gets so hard to realize that all these bumps are pebbles on the ride, and the scenery's just passing by, and I'm alright. On the other side, I'll finally relax when the fruit is ripe. I've watered all these plants for a quarter of my life, and patience is a friend of time, so he'll be mine. But I would have to lie to say it's fine, although I've been dreaming way too long to see it die, so I'll survive. Oh, I'll keep my calm, 'cause I know it won't be long. And oh, I'll brave the storm. I guess I'm keeping on. Yes, I'm keeping on. But I would have to lie to say it's fine, although I've been dreaming way too long to see it die, so I'll survive. Oh, I'll keep my calm, 'cause I know it won't be long. And oh, I'll brave the storm. I guess I'm keeping on. Yes, I'm keeping on.
Adriel Rivera.
Wow. Double time. That was nice.
Thank you. Yeah, man. Let's get into it. Let's get into these lyrics.
Let's dive in.
And I'm really like proud of the first verse lyrics. So like, I'm hoping you got some questions for that.
Oh,
for real.
snap. Oh, snap. All right. So, my first question
Yeah.
is just like in general, would you consider yourself like an optimist or a pessimist, or like where do you fall on that spectrum?
I think an optimist more than anything. I mean, like, I think there's certain topics that you know you're probably more pessimistic, or I'm probably more pessimistic about than others.
Yeah.
But overarching, I feel like I'm a pretty optimistic person.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Can I say that I'm a realist, or is that cheating?
I feel like I feel like it's cheating. But would a realist be trying to be superstar level like you are?
Okay, see, so it's like it's delusional when it comes to that. But also cuz I also think that like somebody has to do it. Like somebody is the superstar. Somebody's going to be Peyton Manning, somebody's going to be Tom Brady, somebody's going to be anyone. And so I say, why not shoot for the stars? Because like somebody's got to do it. So I don't necessarily even like think it's like
unrealistic.
That. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because obviously it's real for somebody.
Yeah,
because it is real. It's happening.
Yeah,
it
just comes down to the individual.
It just comes down to the individual. And
right.
So, but yeah, so I don't know. So I don't know. I guess I got to look at it more. But I mean, I think realist with delusion makes sense. No.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably say optimist.
Okay.
But maybe that's just like me projecting, because like to be in, especially in the career path we are, I think you got to be pretty optimistic about it, because like, somebody who is more pessimistic definitely, I think, would probably, maybe we got to hear it from a pessimistic person's perspective.
Yeah.
Who's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But like, I think most, like, if you have a pessimistic perspective, I don't think entrepreneurship goes hand in hand with that necessarily. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
There's got to be one out there that would love to talk to them. Like,
get them on the podcast.
Like, what's the thought process
right.
there? All right, you ready to dive in?
Yeah.
All right, so you said all these bumps are pebbles on the ride.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering if you had any like specific examples of some things that you thought were like super big at the time, you were super worried about, and you look back and you're like, that was just a little pebble on the road.
I mean, definitely. Well, I mean, like, you can even say with this song, like, this song, it's coming out, like, I mean, the day that we're recording this is the 25th. So the day the song comes out, or is out, which it's out on YouTube, but it's not on streaming services, it's a little late. And it'll probably be up by the end of the week. Well, by the time this podcast comes out, it's definitely going to be up. But, like, regardless, it's stressful because it's like, dang, I need to get this song out. I gotta get the song done. But, like, putting it into perspective, it's like, this is one release out of the 3 years I've been releasing music. It's still coming out, like, relatively, like, it's still gonna be, like, the song is done and it's out, and it's just not on streaming services yet, and it'll still be up relatively close to the release date. It's like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, and there's multiple of that's always going to be happening, like, regardless of how far I make it in my career or whatever. Like, there's always going to be some sort of bump, but it's like, at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, it's not gonna matter that much.
Yeah. Do you find yourself being able to apply that perspective to a lot of things, or does it take you some time to kind of work around to thinking about it like that?
I mean, I think I apply that perspective to a lot of stuff, like, pretty fast. But the thing is, it's like, there's definitely moments where I'm like, I think specifically more so moments of where I'm just like feeling like down on myself, where I'm just like, man, specifically like what kind of like prompted this whole song in general is just like the feeling of of lost, you know what I'm saying? It's like, especially pursuing like the career that I'm pursuing, it's like, there's no roadmap, and it's really hard to know if what you're doing is the thing that you should be doing to get you to the next step that you want to. And so it's like, it's like you're chipping away at a tunnel, or you're making a tunnel, like chipping away at the rock with like a spoon, you know what I'm saying? It's like you feel like you're doing so much effort and barely made a dent in the wall, and so it's like that's like what's kind of like prompted this like whole entire song. And I'm trying to go back to what my initial point was, but like but yeah, like there's moments like that get hard to put into perspective. Eventually I come around, but I feel like it's a constant battle of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that another thing is the moving goalpost. I feel like that probably applies to a lot of people, but just speaking from like the musician's terms, like there's been so many times where I've been like, all right, I want to get this many streams, and then I'll be like proud of myself, right? And I get it. I'm like, all right, that was cool, and I was happy for like 3 seconds, but then there's like another one, and so I think that also does not help with that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even when you're talking about like the smaller targets and everything, not even looking grand scale, it's tough because you keep just moving it and moving it.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Next thing. On the other side, I'll finally relax when the fruit is ripe. Will you actually relax?
I definitely think that like one of the biggest stresses I feel like, especially like, you know, recently, is just like money and stuff like that. You know, it's like figuring out what can I be doing to, you know, increase revenue, because it's just like there's only so much that I can save, to the point where it's like I'm gonna be, you know, kind of on thin ice with like, you know, with money and stuff like that. So it's like I definitely feel right now it's like a bit of a hamster wheel, constantly trying to, you know, work towards something that could be a stable what was the word I used the other day? Long-term income, you know, long-term
Yeah.
career. Like I definitely feel like it's a constant just chasing, and I'm just waiting to catch up to what, like that long-term sustainability. And obviously, like there's still going to be a lot more when you tend to a garden. Even after you harvest fruit, you still have to tend to your plants. Like you don't just harvest one fruit from the plant and then forget about it, because it's still growing other ones.
Yeah.
And it's like the plant is still alive. Like, you know, you don't just get the fruit and then you forget about it. But all the labor working up towards it, it's like there's a lot more you put up front until you reach the actual fruit, and then after that it's just maintenance from there, you know. And so comparing it to like my music career, there's been 8 years in the making, you know. And so it's a lot of upfront effort that I've definitely put in, a lot of, and I wouldn't say it's like all been a consistent effort too, you know. There's definitely been times where like, you know, some parts of my music have been more productive, or my career, I guess, have been more productive than others in terms of like YouTube, but then switching over to music and all that. So there's a lot of like juggling around. But either way, it's like a lot of effort that has been put in. And so it's like, it's a constant chase for stability. But I think being able to have stability will definitely help me feel like I don't have to chase as much anymore. Now I can actually start to like feel like, all right, what are some cool things I can do now? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, will I finally relax? I mean, there's always going to be something different. There's always going to be some other stress, you know, some other stress with like my business, some other stress with life. There's like you know, money doesn't solve all your problems, but it can help, you know, negate a few.
Yeah.
So I feel like there will be some sort of ease once it's like, all right, cool, I'm covered, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah.
For sure. And actually, to kind of segue into this next question, because you talked about you've been more productive in like certain areas of your career. Mm-hmm. So the quote that I base this off of is, "I've been dreaming way too long to see it die." Mm-hmm. So my question is kind of like 3 parts, but how long have you been dreaming of like this kind of a career? Mm-hmm. How long have you been making music? And then how long have you been locked in on making music?
That's a good question. So how long have I been dreaming about this career? Well, I mean, I started releasing music trying to be like an artist, like, you know, make it as an artist for 8 years at this point. So when I was like 15 in high school, so I'm still relatively young. I'm 23, you know, so I got a good amount of ways to go until I'm 30. So it's like, you know, it's that's it. Everybody knows once you're 30, that's the end, bro. You know, that's the end of your life.
That's crazy.
You kidding? But yeah, like, you know, I still got a good amount of time left, you know, so it's just like, or at least, you know, I think so.
Yeah, you hope so.
You hope so,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I'm not like, I like it's good that I kind of been doing it for a long time already, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so 8 years, I guess you could say, is how long I've been dreaming. I feel like long, in a sense, it's longer than that though, because 8 years ago is when I like made the decision, like, all right, like I want to try doing music. But I always wanted to do. Sorry, my voice cracked there.
Yeah, it really did.
I've always wanted to do something though.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, like I'm middle school or even in elementary school, I was like making trading cards, and like selling them to friends, you know, for like $1 for a pack, you know.
Yeah.
And I was told I couldn't do that. I got caught. I got in trouble. But
Bro, they probably wanted to make you pay taxes or something.
right,
Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
exactly. But yeah, so ever since I was little, like loved drawing, love the idea of just like creating and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And so middle school comes around, I started doing gaming videos on YouTube, you know, who doesn't?
Real.
But then after that, like towards the end of middle school, early high school, I started doing animation and started animating, and had like an animating YouTube channel, which is like still up if anybody can find it. And then so after that, then is when I really got into music. But I feel like ever since I was like little, I've always had like big dreams, you know,
Yeah.
and I just didn't know where those dreams would lead me.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, everything that like I kind of wanted to do gets used in what I'm doing now, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm creating product, I'm selling merchandise, things like that. I'm still drawing, you know, creating art with my cover arts and things like that. And video games not necessarily as much, but I'm making videos, you know.
Yeah.
I'm making videos, and I guess if you want to call like business, the music business, my career, a video game, I'm trying to hit new levels with it. So yeah. Long answer to that one part of the question. Second part, what was the second part of that question?
I think you answered the first two parts.
Really? What was
Yeah, because you were talking about how like since you were younger,
Yeah.
you always aspired to do something probably like creative,
Yeah.
do your own thing, and then you talked about starting music.
Yeah.
Like 8 years ago.
Right.
When do you feel like you locked in or became like super serious about it or started making meaningful progress?
Yeah. Well, here, because you asked how long have I been making music for, right?
Yeah.
It's been longer than 8 years for sure.
Oh, okay.
Because I started making instrumentals and stuff like that like back in middle school, so like 6th grade, or like I messed around with FL Studio elementary school. Then in like 6th grade, I started doing instrumentals and things like that. And like 8th grade is when I made my first song.
Okay.
So this is before I even decided I wanted to be a musician, but like I was making some music back then, and it was so terrible. But we've 8 years will do a lot, you know.
Of course.
But yeah, so how long do I think it will be until I reach those goals? I don't like to think about it too much.
Real.
But I will say I'm pretty committed to this. I feel like even if it came down to the point where I'm just back into a corner and I'm like, all right, I need to like get a job that like can pay me well, like I will still do this. Like there's no stopping me on this. It would just get a little more difficult, but like I wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And I'm not backed in a corner yet, so we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep doing this strong.
There you go.
And so, but like, yeah, I don't know how long, and I don't like to put a timeline onto it because setting expectations, I think will hinder you more, because it's like, or at least hinder me more, because it's like I would much rather work towards building the skills to help me get to those goals rather than trying to mark those goals and then try to fit in how am I going to fit in all this stuff
Yeah.
before that time frame that I wanted to hit.
Yeah.
You know, and so if I can just like, if I focus more so on like the skills that'll help me get there, I think it'll happen when it happens. It'll happen when it's time.
Yeah.
And so let's hope it's soon. Let's hope it's soon. But
Let's hope it's soon.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna be going still for sure, regardless.
When do you feel as though you started taking it more seriously? I'm sure that happened like multiple times.
Yeah.
But like I guess when do you think is like the biggest moment?
I think it's always like changes, because it's like I thought I was taking it seriously back in high school, only to realize like in 2020 when I started like doing 2 videos a week on YouTube, where I was like, I should have been doing this already. Now I'm taking it seriously. And then I started releasing a song every month on 25th, and I'm like, I should have already been doing this. Now I'm taking this seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and then like even as much as to this year, where like I've been kind of like I gotta do stuff with content again. We've got to get back on that content grind and stuff, but with content too, and just like a bunch of different stuff. Like this year, I felt like, oh, okay, I'm really like, you know, locking in.
Yeah.
You know,
the email list I think is a big thing too.
Yeah, exactly. Grew the email list a lot, from like 50 people to like 700 something
crazy
active people. So yeah, no, it's a lot, which I'm happy about, you know. So we locking in for sure, but like I think it's always continuously going to get to a new point of more locked in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think the most, I guess like this year, you know, these last few years specifically too, like within the last two years, definitely have been very focused on this and like very like trying to discipline myself as much as possible.
Yeah.
And but like I think it'll always be changing though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, like that it happens, you know, every time you switch something up, it's like, all right, but now this is serious, and it just keeps going.
Right.
So then I have an artist to artist question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you enjoy making songs about I guess making songs either like about making songs or about like your career type of thing? Or do you prefer doing stuff that is based off of a feeling or a specific story and stuff like that?
I like to base it off of like just feelings, like what I'm currently feeling. I try to like always do like what I'm currently feeling. And if it happens to be a career, if it happens to be relationship wise, things like that, like it'll that's what it'll be about. But I do like to do, I do want to do more personally oriented career focused music. This song, what else? 2 Steps Behind was a little more, I feel like this one specifically is kind of on the nose of what I want to convey. 2 Steps Behind isn't as strong as this in terms of like I wouldn't say as strong, but it's not as, I guess, what's the right word? They're both applicable to me, but this is like more so describing my personal experiences, while 2 Steps Behind is a mixture of like overarching human experience. You know?
Yeah.
And so, but I like doing this though, because it's just like I feel like it's honest. It gives people, you know, look into where I'm at, like how I'm feeling. And the more honest I can make my music, the better it is. I feel like, because it's like, people who are going through the same things that I'm feeling, since this is coming from a very genuine, honest place, I feel like it will, 1, probably resonate more, and 2, like, give those people a better connection to like who I am as an artist, and you know, things like that, because it's like, yeah, this is what I feel. Yeah, you know, and I'm glad too, because it's like when this song came out on early access from my email list, which by the way, you know, if you want early access for latest releases before anybody else hears it, feel free to check the link below for early access to my email list. But when I sent out early access for the song, you know, I got a few responses of people saying like, I relate to this. You know, even people that aren't even in music, you know, that's their career. I had somebody talk to me about poetry, you know, how they love poetry and stuff like that. And this, you know, resonated with them and what they have felt and all that, being a poet. And so, like, and to me, that's like, that's the ultimate goal of music, you know, is to make something that, that you feel like, I feel like making something that helps other people. That's just like, what else can I like ask for, you know?
Yeah.
It helps if it can help make somebody else feel better. I obviously want to make music that will help somebody else feel better, but it also, like, in a way helps me feel better, because it's like, I know I'm not the only one feeling this way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
100%, man. That's what I got for the questions for this. Is there anything that you specifically want to break down?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. So going to, well, first, before I break down stuff, I want to ask you a question. Like,
Whoa.
in terms of, like, as artist to artist, do you relate to this song in any way?
Yeah. The entire general concept, and I always, like, I have this problem where I'll be like, all right, maybe I do need to venture out and do something else.
Yeah.
And then every single time I'm reminded that, like, I'm too far down this path for it not to be the path. Like, it's just got to happen. I'm just so invested. I'm just so invested in the thing. But yeah.
Well, when you say that, is it like you're too, like, do you mean you're so invested as it wouldn't make sense to do anything else, or you're invested as in, like, there's so much of me in here that I can't let it go?
Oof. I mean, it's both. I think I tend to think about it in terms of financial and just, like, time and effort that I've put in. And it's like, I've just become too good and gained too many of these specific skills to not
apply it to what you're already doing. Yeah.
Exactly. But you saying that question really does make me realize, like, how much of me is in the music. And yeah, like, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have music. Man, I couldn't just put all my stuff. Well, I guess I could still. I don't know how I'd get everything out.
Yeah,
that's how I get everything out.
For real. Yeah, no, music helps me a lot too. And it's like not even just music, but like the whole career in general, like pursuing this and being my own boss, I feel like is a lot of what I feel is like representative of who I am. You know, it's like, cause like I see myself as somebody that's like, I want this, and so I'm gonna get it. You know, like at least like I try to be that. You know, and so to let go of that would be to let go of like a part of who I feel is me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so yeah. That's why I asked that question. But yeah. So to break down some more lyrics though, going back to the whole, do you have my lyrics written down here? Because it's like easy to.
I do have them right there.
All right. So definitely like. Oh shoot!
What'd you do?
I don't know. I did something on the computer, but it doesn't matter. So talking about like, well, obviously mentioning like watering plants, gardening. Like I'm a gardener. I love gardening, and so putting that in my songs. Always love to try to throw in a little bit of gardening in those songs. But I think gardening is such a good metaphor for what it is that we do though.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it quite literally is, you put in labor, a lot of upfront work that you don't see anything back from right away, but eventually you will get something that you can actually taste and eat, and it's like, it nourishes you, it's good for you, and it's delicious. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, working independently is like, as your own entrepreneur is also like, I feel in many senses the same as gardening. Yeah. You know, and what's crazy is too, I just thought about this, is like the people who have been entrepreneurs for years and like know how to build businesses, if they start a new business, they could get that one off the ground pretty easily, as opposed to somebody who's just starting, right? Yeah. Because they know the skills and all that. Yeah. Gardening's the same way. like the gardening YouTubers I watch, like I'm just getting started in my growing season. I won't see any of like my fruits within like the next few months to late summer, but some of the gardening YouTubers I watch live in like the same kind of climate as I do, and they already got like harvests like as soon as like spring starts, because they just know what to plant, like how to what is it called, succession crop or grow, like things like that, succession growing or sowing, and like they just develop the gardening skills to like get their stuff sooner, and get more of it in the same amount of space that like I have, and so it's like everything's a skill. And then like I just love using gardening as like an analogy for everything.
Really quick, another thing that I like on the whole gardening metaphor thing is when you're gardening, even if like the crop that you get is not great, this one's bad and it dies, you try again next season.
Exactly, right.
Love that.
Yeah, for real. Boom. That's a great one. That's a great thing to point out. But yeah, so pointing out too, like I've watered all these plants for a quarter of my life. I mean, obviously I water my plants, I don't know how long I've been gardening for. It might be a quarter of my life, but I don't know. I haven't counted the years up. But making music though, 8 years, and I've been around for 23. So it's over a quarter. It's about like, I did the math, it's like 33% of my life is like me doing music. Yeah. So over a quarter of my life. But I say a quarter of my life because it just flows better. But yeah, just pointing that out. I don't know, something about it is just like it hits me because it's about me, obviously. But yeah,
I would hope so.
Right. Yeah. And so like, yeah, man. I mean, I've been doing this for a minute. Been tending to this for a minute. Yeah. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I'll get some good ripe fruits out of this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the last thing from this verse, well, there's so many things from this verse that I don't know if this is going to be the last thing or not, but I'm basically just breaking out this entire verse. Like, I'm really proud of this last line. Patience is a friend of time, so he'll be mine, right? Like, time and patience go hand in hand. Things take time, and in order to get to that point where you can, reap the benefits, you need to have patience. Yeah. And so patience being a friend of time, like they go hand in hand, they're best buddies. So if I'm going to have to wait the time, then patience will have to be my friend as well. Yeah. My ally as well. And so I think like that sentence is just like, I was really proud of that. Those two lines right there.
Dude's right, man. Dude's a poet.
This is like a really poetic song, I feel like, which I'm glad that somebody who is into poetry kind of like, reached out talking about that, because it's like, yes, that's that's what I wanted it to feel like. But yeah, I'm happy with that line. And then also one last thing, and the scenery is just passing by. Because when you're in a car and you're driving and you're like looking out in the scenery, like obviously like it's never the same because it's like always passing. Using that as a sense of like things will happen, right? But it'll always like you'll always move past it. Like life goes on. Yeah. And so to use the metaphor of being on a ride where like things are bumpy and things like that, like there will be something that you see or there will be something that happens, but it'll pass by eventually. Yeah. So the scenery is just passing by.
Always.
But yeah, so those are some things I wanted to point out, because this is one of those songs. This is one of those songs where I feel like I really did.
Gotta love those.
For real. Any questions, comments, concerns?
None of the above.
If you guys like this, I just want to remind you again, if you like listening to my music, which I would hope so, even if you want early access to it, feel free to check out the link in the description to get free early access to my latest releases. All right, you ready to check out this cover art? Because you haven't seen the cover art.
Let's check out the cover art, dude.
Boom. Well, actually, this isn't the cover art.
That's not the cover art, dude. Why would you do that to me?
This is the drawing of the cover art. Sheesh. Let me pull up the actual cover art real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. I am so sorry. I was not I wasn't prepared as I thought I was. I like came in here thinking that I was so prepared, but I guess I'm not.
Blue balling on the cover art's crazy, dude. Can't believe you did that to me.
Sheesh. All right, boom. There's like
Oh yeah.
there's the actual cover art.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, gardening guy over here. You know, watering plants, eating an apple.
What you watering, man? What is that?
I drew it. It's just a random plant, but it kind of looks like corn. So
There you go.
Boom. Corn is actually not a fruit though, so I
So
gotta
it's-
I gotta redo the cover art. I guess.
Yeah, dude, you better take this down and re-upload it.
But yeah, so I'm eating an apple. You know, fruit labor. I don't have a gardening hat. I do want one. And that's one of the reasons why I drew myself in one. I'm manifesting it.
You look natural, dude. You look natural
Thank
in
you.
there.
Thank you. And I just think like also that just like fits with the vibe because we talked the last episode how I feel like it's very folk, blues, country kind of like inspired. And I think just like this look fits with it. you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, so let's actually break down this cover art, the drawings of it. And so starting off, this is the first reference photo that I took. I told my little brother to take this picture of me because I'm like, all right, like I knew what I want and I need to be able to visualize this.
Yeah.
And also like I couldn't spend the time trying to get it right. I had to get it right the first time. So I'm like, I need a reference. I need my little brother to take pictures. So I was in his room. This is my old room, but he took it from me. So I give it to him. This is me sitting in his room for the first reference. Dogs out and everything. I was contemplating if I should just like cover it for the podcast, but whatever.
In 4K on the podcast.
But yeah, so there's the first reference, but because I was gonna be holding a fruit and then like watering plants.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I was trying to use this as a reference and like sketch out stuff, but it just like perspectives weren't working out and stuff like that. And so I told them to take another one of me. So we're at a different angle. Got the fruit. The guy took an orange, and this is a coffee pot. But I needed something that like could like help me. Like I have a handle on it that can like help me like visualize what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And so we block out the rough sketch, the shapes, right? The shapes of it. And from there we do some sketch detailing. We detail it out a little bit more with like the clothes. My specific art style. And then as always we do the cleanup, the line cleanup. Now here's something crazy. So we clean up the lines and then we have like the final line art that goes over that, so it's like smoothened out. Again, I couldn't really spend too much time on this. And so I'm like how can I make this faster? AI is a thing, and I was like looking around seeing like is there like any way I can take my line art and just tell an AI to clean it up? Like I don't need anything changed because I drew it. I just need it to be cleaned up because it's like it's the same drawing. It just needs to be smoother lines.
Yeah.
And it's a tedious, long process of like if I were to do it by hand, going through and like making sure the lines are smooth and like basically redrawing everything again after having already drawn it.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't like in a rush, I would have done it. But I was like, let me see if like AI could get relatively close though. And so I was able to get, I forget what the website was because I was just like looking around and seeing what people were talking about or saying on like online and stuff. I forget which website I used, but I just plugged in my drawing and I was like, make the line smoother,
Yeah.
like, well, prompted it better than that, but like
Right.
told it make the line smoother. And then it came out with like this. And so I refined it because it wasn't 100% perfect. It's good enough. I fixed up some things, but it's still not 100% where I want it to be. And if you zoom in on little parts, like there's some minor errors in terms of like little splotches of like white that aren't supposed to be there. But overall, it's passable. It's pretty good, not gonna lie. But if I had more time to do it, I probably would have just gone in and done it myself because it's not all consistent in terms of thickness of the lines, and I would want it to be consistent in that way, as well as it's like it's there's some weird like artifacting here and there and in some of the areas, you know. But besides that, it did a pretty good job, and so it sped up the process like a good amount. And so if AI becomes more refined and it can do this like to like a T to what exactly I want, low key, I would just probably tell AI to clean up my lines. Somebody should please somebody make a line art tool where you could just plug in your line art and then it cleans it up. Like that would be so helpful, and then it would just make it a perfect line. Like, dude, and if there's something like that already and somebody knows that, please let me know, because like that would help so much, save so much time.
Yeah.
Because just cleaning up line art is like majority of it. You know, everything else comes pretty fast. So once we have the line art, we do the color blocking. You know, get all those colors in there, and then you do the shading, and then on top of that, boop. You know,
There
the
it
catch
goes.
light, good old catch light. And then there's the cover art. There's me watering with a watering can on a corn, I guess.
But that's subject to change though.
Subject to change. Yeah, which probably won't, but you know, it's subject to. Maybe one day you'll just look at the cover art and it'll be like a pumpkin or something.
Who knows?
Pumpkins are fruit. Did you know pumpkins are fruit?
I did not.
Yeah, pumpkins are fruit. They are. So are cucumbers.
All right, man. That sounds made up. That's crazy.
Nah,
Can't believe it.
They're fruit.
Wow.
Yeah, they're culinarily classified as vegetables if you were to use them in the kitchen, but they're fruit. They're fruit.
Why do people call it a vegetable? Like why?
Because it probably just doesn't taste like sweet, where you would associate a fruit to be sweet.
Yeah.
My theory is that it's like it's big farming, you know, big farming.
That's good.
It's like they you know, when you go to the supermarket and you get fruits, it's always like the common like apple, orange, things that are like easily like shippable and all that, and then
Yeah.
so you're used to like just seeing like, you know, sweet fruits and stuff. But in actuality, it's like cucumbers are fruit too. I guess you could get that at a grocery store. My point does not stand, but
Nah, we coming for you, big farming.
yeah,
We're coming for you.
exactly.
Look out.
Look out, big farming. Yeah. So there's a cover art. I love gardening. I would just want to go to my garden right now. There's a nice. You didn't see it apparently, but one of the pumpkin flowers like bloomed, and it was a nice big pumpkin flower. I should have taken a picture of it. I don't know why I didn't.
I got to check that out.
I don't know if it'll be open anymore. It's 10 o'clock, bro. It's 10 o'clock. They die within the first morning. They're like by the afternoon, they're all shriveled up.
Sad life, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the plant is still alive. It's just like the flower, you know.
No, okay.
It's like if we were to get like a hair and it turned gray right away, we'd still be alive. We just got
Yeah.
gray hair, you know.
They just be sad.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a cover art. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Nope.
Shoot. Dude, look at the time.
Dude, let's quote something.
Quote of the week.
I guess it's time.
Yeah, I didn't say how I usually do. My fault, guys. My bad. You don't get it this episode, I guess.
Dang.
All right.
All right, you're up, bro.
Yep. All right. So this is from somebody named Tom Spellman, who was on the Epic Gardening YouTube channel. We got another gardening quote for you guys this week. I love Epic Gardening. This guy doesn't run this YouTube channel, but he was like a guest on it, and so I use this quote because it's a good quote. Pruning a fruit tree is like an artist's canvas that is never finished. So, backyard orchard culture, right? Usually when you go to an orchard, trees are like spread apart, like pretty far. I don't know what the word would be, but they're spread pretty wide. The trees, you know, like they're not next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, and that's so that when you're farming for, or when you have an orchard for like produce productivity, and you're trying to get as many fruit as possible to sell, orchards, like the big orchards, big farming, you know, they like grow trees as big as possible so that you get as much fruit as possible so that they could ship those out and sell them. But when you're at home at a backyard orchard, when you have a backyard orchard,
Mm-hmm.
your goal isn't to get as many fruit as possible, because like one tree can produce hundreds of fruit, and like at that point you can't do anything with all that fruit. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna waste a lot of it. And the more fruit you have, the less, the more energy is dispersed between those fruits, so you get less quality over quantity.
Yeah.
But when you have a smaller amount of fruit, where the plant can focus on ripening up these fruits specifically, they tend to taste better, because the plant can focus all of its energy throughout that season to these few fruits specifically. And so when you have a backyard orchard, you can plant them closer together, because you can consistently prune them to keep them to like a relatively small size.
Yeah.
You know, and doing it that way yields less fruit, but still enough where it's like you have more than what you know what to do with. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, what are you gonna do with like 40 apples? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am not eating 40 apples.
Exactly right. And that's like what you could get from like a backyard orchard. This is my assumptions. I don't know the exact numbers, but like from the videos I've seen, like that's like how much it looks like.
Yeah.
You know, people are getting from their backyards. And so, the thing is though, if you're doing a backyard orchard, you have to consistently prune them. So, Tom Spellman was saying how pruning a fruit tree is like an artist's canvas that is never finished, you know, because when you prune them back, you can kind of paint like a picture of however you want the tree to look like, because you're shaping it.
Yeah.
But you're always going to have to do it, because it'll always keep growing back. And so that's like same with life, bro. Same with life.
Same with life.
I think like we as people are constantly always learning and improving on ourselves, and we ourselves are like a canvas that is just like never finished. You know, we're an art piece that is never finished, and
Yeah.
I like that. I like thinking it that way. That's shout out Tom Spellman. You know,
Shout out Tom Spellman.
but yeah. So there's my quote.
All right, sweet. Mine is kind of relates to that in a way. This is a quote from this book that I just read called Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. He also has a YouTube channel, which is really good, which I'd recommend.
I've heard that guy before.
Yeah, probably.
What does he do?
Like self-help, self-improvement, business, productivity stuff. Yeah.
All right. I
Yeah.
need to see a picture of this guy.
Content and stuff.
Never mind. Keep going.
All right.
I don't know this guy.
All right, bro.
He's not the same guy I was thinking of.
So the quote is, make a start. You won't need to get perfect.
Oh, he screwed it up. Screwed it up. All right. See you guys later. Thank you for watching.
All right. Make a start. You won't need to get perfect for a long time yet. And I think that is like akin to a just do it for me.
Yeah.
Start the thing, and then you would just continue building on it. Like you were saying, like it's an ever evolving canvas for you to paint on. But just, get the canvas out and start painting.
Exactly.
Start painting.
Right. You can't be a perfectionist with this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because like another thing is like, well, when you first start off, like let's say for example, like making music, the first songs you make are definitely not going to be your best songs. Like they're far from it, and so it's going to take a while for you to get to making good music. But even if you haven't made great music, you can't wait for that point to start,
Yeah.
because the first song that you release, regardless, isn't going to be heard by anybody. And so 100 songs down the line, 150 songs down the line, when you're actually getting good, it's like, and people actually start to listen to your music at that point, like you have been posting for so long. But when people actually start to discover it, it will be good,
Yeah.
Those first songs that weren't good aren't even going to be heard, so put them out.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's a good thing, Same
Yeah.
thing with content, with everything. It's like the first stuff is never going to be the best, and the good thing is that it's the first stuff. You're allowed to mess up on the first stuff.
And I think you learn so much in that process. Like, even like if you made, one of the greatest songs of all time, but it was your first song ever releasing, and you don't have like any label or anything helping you, like, I don't have trust in you to be able to market that correctly and be able to push it out, because you've never done it. Like you don't know yet, and through that trial and error, you start to learn, and so that way you grow all of the skills simultaneously while you continue to just go up and exponentially grow.
Exactly. It's the same reason why when people who have never had money before win the lottery and then they lose it all, It's because like the reason why they lost it all is because they didn't know how to manage money in the first place. You know.
Yeah, which you'd learn by gradually doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Not saying I know how to manage money well, by the way.
Oh, I don't at all.
Yeah, I'm trying there, but yeah, like it's same. It's with everything. It's with everything. But yeah, good quotes. Good quotes this week.
Good quotes. Look at us.
High
We're
fiving.
so cool, dude.
Yeah. Hell yeah. If you guys like this podcast, feel free to rate it on your podcast listener. Spotify, if you use Spotify, please 5 stars. If not, rate it. What did I say last time? Rate it.
Whatever is true to you.
Boom. Exactly. So 5 stars.
I mean, it must be. And if it's not, you're lying to yourself.
For real. For real. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Because we will be here next week making music in my shed. That was a good outro, right?
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be doing that.